by himself or with trustees and then with volunteers. And then we were trying to coordinate with the county cleanup and various, things going on. So then when we picked it up, we had a place to dump it. And then sometimes, things were stored at the Township Hall before we could get rid of it. And then recently we had some volunteers that wanted to, wanted to approach the board to get us to purchase a dumpster so they could do that. I personally voted against it just because not because I don't feel like we need to, do something or have volunteers to do this, but I wanted a more complete plan on how to do this, to get it set up so it would go on into the future and it would be a regular thing. So I found out the volunteers went out anyway and did it, so thank you very much for doing that. And then I found out that that same group was going to approach the board today anyway, so I talked with them and I said, I put this on the agenda, I didn't know you were going to do that, so I would like to turn it over to the volunteer group to do what they wanted to do, to come today and speak to that, so.
Can I get some more clarification? We have always had volunteers, and we've always did the township cleanup 2 to 3 weeks prior to the cleanup here in the township. We've never paid for people to pick up garbage.
All right, hi, my name is Heather Berta. I have been an Augusta Township resident since 2012, and so yeah, I came here today to tell you a little bit more about how this idea of a regular township-wide trash cleanup began. And then I'll hand it over to Wendy to talk more about specifics. But so I live on the south end of Hitchingham Road, and every year my husband Randy and I pick a day after the snow is melted, but before the grass and the shrubs have grown up, so in early spring, and we get our garbage bags and buckets and either the tractor or the four-wheeler, and we walk up and down about a mile section of our road, so somewhere between Arcona and the railroad tracks on Hitchingham, and we spend a few hours cleaning up trash. And without fail, we always get at least a few passers-by that stop and thank us for our efforts, as well as also let us know how much the trash irks them as well. So, I know we're not the only ones out there who are bothered by it. Over a decade of doing these little mini trash cleanups, just a morning or an afternoon, we've removed enough trash to fill a 40-yard dumpster just from the 1 mile that we clean up. And Hitchingham Road is a little bit of a trash dumping and littering hotspot, but I guarantee you that most of the roadways in Augusta Township could benefit from at least a yearly trash cleanup. For example, when we did our cleanup on Sunday, April 7th, just a few weeks ago, we hit an area that we weren't really expecting to be a trash hotspot. It was on Hitchingham between Mile and Oakville Road and Arcona, and that took 5 or 6 volunteers, probably 2 hours, to pick up trash. So even in areas where it's not as obvious as some areas, there is still quite a bit. I know in our area we have picked up everything from couches, tires, an entire shower unit, and hazardous waste, vehicle batteries, oil, cans of paint, and fast food containers, and lots of alcoholic beverage bottles. So that is really the majority of what we find out there are, everything from shooters to handles to 40s and everything. Yep,
You make some money doing that,
Like
picking up them
a
cans.
large amount.
Oh, okay, not a 40 ouncer, but a bigger than a 40 ouncer?
No,
know my liquor.
No, it's bigger
Oh,
than a
okay.
40, yeah, so that is also frightening when you think about it, because that means there are people driving up and down the roads in our township under the influence and trying to toss the evidence out of their car windows. But that is a whole another issue entirely. Beyond the consequences for the land when waste piles up in the ditches and contaminates the water supply, or the harm to wildlife that ingests the trash or lives in the trash or is ensnared by the trash, there are definitely other problems that are caused by the trash. Number one is that trash is a magnet for more trash. The trash is like a sign: litter here, dump here, no one will care. And it also makes residents feel like trash when they see it. It's a visible sign of the lack of respect we have for our neighbors, our community, and ourselves. So whatever angle trash cleanup volunteers are coming at this from, whatever makes them show up, there could be so many potential positive results of a regular township-wide trash cleanup. Number one, it's really educational, both for the volunteers doing it and for their friends and family members that hear about it. I know we had at the last one a few weeks ago, we had a 10 or 11-year-old who was participating, who kept asking, why would someone throw this out their car window? Or why would someone throw that out their car window? And these are good questions to ask, especially when there's a garbage can on pretty much every corner in America, and almost everyone has curbside trash pickup. Number two, it brings people together, gets them out of their homes, talking and connecting with their neighbors. Number three, it makes residents feel invested in their township and like they have a sense of ownership over the roadsides. After spending a morning or an afternoon picking up trash, littering and dumping feels like a personal insult. Number four, it beautifies and brings back a sense of pride in our Augusta Township community. And you all may be able to think of other benefits to a cleanup. And with that, I will hand it over to Wendy to talk more about, like you were asking for, the plan and details.
A few details. And I left my readers at home, so I'll do my best, but you all have copies. Okay, so I heard through the grapevine that this was happening. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. My mother is a dedicated person. She goes out every month, bless her heart, to be 83 in December, and they pick up trash. So when I got to talking to Heather, and so we just started riffing off of each other. How can we make this kind of like grow this program out, like in my hometown of Wilmington, Ohio? So really the purpose of this kind of more organized, focused, regular effort is to show appreciation, as I mentioned, for our township by the residents coming together, working together to keep it clean. Our vision is to create and facilitate volunteer-supported cleanup efforts and events in and around Willis and Augusta Township consistently throughout the year, not just like when, the June big recycling thing, just throughout the entire year. We're hoping, from a partnership perspective, to build those partnerships with local businesses in and around Augusta Township. And, one of my, because everyone, it always helps, like sometimes when you're volunteering, it helps to have a reciprocation, right? So I got to thinking about, because my son's in high school, they have the National Honor Society. And a lot of those kids, they need community service to go for, their membership in that. So I did reach out. We have a teacher that actually lives in the township, and I connected with her, and she connected me to a student that's on the NHS, and they actually have a beautification team. So they were like, yes, absolutely, we can do this. They work year round, because I asked about the summer, since we're already close to the end of school year. So that's they got the green light to go. And we talked amongst ourselves about, well, maybe there's we can download a certificate, right? Because I'm sure we have to approve their hours, because that'll go to their community service efforts.
Yep.
Communication, so we thought like two of the best ways, right, is can post when we're next meeting with cleanup times on the township website, but also Heather created a Facebook page, right? So it's out there, it's live now, people, they can search for it, they can join, and we will just, it's just strictly to post dates and times of when we're next going to clean up trash and maybe where the route will be. The meeting place will always be the same at the township hall, and we'll have the route selected and then we'll disperse from there. Equipment, so some things, just thought off the top of my head, trash bags, gloves, vests, those grabber tools, and then the big, most expensive item would be dumpsters. And we looked at that thinking 4 times a year, once a quarter, right? This is my just very like high level looking online to see what the price of things are. I came up with an estimated annual cost of just over $2,000, $2,200 to be exact. We know that the each time to get a dumpster is $400. So that's $1,600 a year. I just again went top line to search on Amazon for grabbers, $10 each, vest $5, work gloves $5. Trash bags, I found ranges depending on the types of bags from $25 to $65 price range. So I took an average cost of $40 for a box of trash bags. And then I just thought, okay, well, if we can get 12 people. Now I will tell you that when we picked up trash in April, we all brought our own stuff, right? So, you know, there's that. But it would be nice to have something, especially for when the kids come, because they might not think about materials to bring with them. So to present day, we, as Heather mentioned, we had our first cleanup on April 7th. We removed 50 bags of garbage just from the Hitchingham Road alone. And from moving forward and looking out into the future, we just think it'd be a great opportunity to grow community support, kind of tie things together with different entities. Our township will realize increased involvement from local businesses, from volunteers, and organizations like the National Honor Society, which will lead to a more beautiful township.
You can get more National Honor Society people out here too, by going to IPSC, going to your charter schools.
Yeah, for sure. We started with Lincoln since they're in our backyard.
Well, Lincoln never would call me back when I called and left a message for them. So I was trying to get them already, but go on.
Yeah, I got lucky. Do you guys have any questions for any of us? Yeah.
First of all, you could chair this? Are you gonna be the head chair of it?
Sure, we haven't necessarily discussed that exactly so far. We've been working as all like kind of co-chairs of
okay.
this, but.
Second of all, thank you very much. And, you know, this ideal's been brought before, and I was always, I don't always get good information. So now our attorney's here, before I can make a more good decision in my brain, does this make the township liable if one of the kids get hurt, or?
Well, they're not working, are you paying them, or are they?
Volunteer.
No, volunteer. No, they're just volunteers. They're not, I mean, they're doing it for the township, or are they doing it, I mean, if we're gonna have some type of contract, I mean, what's the arrangement? What's the arrangement?
It's all volunteer.
All volunteers just going out and doing it, not working for the township, just reporting to the township, basically.
Yeah, they would get community service hours, and that's one of the reasons why, like, I was the only one, because a kind gentleman that here lives in the township, you know, he read a post of mine where I almost got hit by a car walking in at night with my dog, and he gave me a vest. So I was the only one that showed up with a vest that day, and I just thought that would be something, a great investment. They can return it back. It wouldn't be something that continual expense every month. Especially for the kids, I would like vest them up first before anybody.
So, let me just say that, you know, if something does happen like that, somebody's out there, they're cleaning up the roads in the township, and somebody gets hit by a car or something like that, you can probably bet that, you know, if they get an attorney, they might sue the township, okay? Now, how much liability, or where that liability is a question, okay? And
How about suing the car that hit him?
Pardon me?
How about suing the car that hit him?
So
That's
sue
who would be
everybody.
responsible. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be the township.
Yeah, right, it wouldn't be the township, you're right, it would be, we would be suing the, but if somebody gets, yeah, okay, if somebody gets injured out there, working for the township,
Volunteer,
they
it's
might
not
sue the
our
township.
responsibility.
Well, we park vehicles next to the
An
road
attorney might
with
sue the
flashes,
township,
so
okay?
everybody knows, can see, so.
When people, they have in other communities that they adopt a road, I mean, these are just common people, you know, that pick up garbage and that. And then when I did this,
Residents.
thank you, when I did the cemeteries and I had volunteers, nobody signed anything, they
Right.
just did it. You know, yeah, part of, you know, just to do it.
Right.
I don't see where, you know, this really,
You know, as a lawyer, you look at the worst.
I know that,
scenarios,
no, I
okay?
understand,
And, you
right.
know,
What about if we had a waiver, a piece of paper?
We can certainly do that.
Of
That would
just a
provide-
waiver.
That would
Right
provide some
there.
protection.
Also
Provide
too,
some protection.
David brought up a point about a liaison. We had talked before, we was gonna appoint Linda as the board liaison to this group, if the board wishes.
Why have a liaison? Why can't? a
She can, she wants to, I
resident,
just thought,
a-
yeah.
A pack of residents
Right.
get together and run something on their
Well,
own.
they can do that.
Oh, we can do that, we
They
can,
can
we
do
can
that.
shut it right down and go do
They
it on
can
our
do
own
that.
tomorrow.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And that's what's
They
gonna
can do
happen.
that.
That's right.
Right.
That's what I
Completely
figured.
separate, completely separate
Right.
from the township.
They were here just looking for
We're
some
not involved,
resources
okay?
from the board to get this off and running, that's all.
In my opinion is, if we can do this legally, then we should, well, I guess I'm speaking too quick.
Well, I can make a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion on the floor.
Well, wait a minute.
Hold on, Kathy, yeah, I'll get to you.
You want me to make a
You're
motion?
gonna
Well,
chair.
let-
Discuss? No?
I'm chair.
You're gonna be the main time so that we can talk.
Well, we can, yeah, we can discuss our, like, what our offices are going to be, but, yeah, I mean, yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be
either,
that formal. I
No.
mean, she was certainly the,
either me or Wendy, we
idea
kinda talked
generator, yeah.
about doing that, yeah, so.
So you would, you know, I mean, does she have to report to the board, or they just go quarterly or whatever and do their thing? I mean, how,
I mean, to your point, I think it'd be really nice, so for example, we captured what we did in April, right? I think that would be really nice to let the community know, and we can post that on our website, we can come to, board meetings once a quarter. I know, and can I kind of mirrored all of this off of what my mom's, was doing in my mom's hometown? And they keep a running tally, like I think on there, because I shared the Facebook page with Heather, yesterday, and they've got like, we've collected X number of like garbage bags and, you know, whatever. And it turns into like a rotating, like, they have local businesses that sponsor, maybe a monthly cleanup. And it's good for the local business, they provide food maybe for the volunteers and other things. So, you know, that's way out there, but it's,
So I kind of see, so what I was, for myself, what I was hoping to see is that, and I know you want to see this forward and to continue, and that's what I'd like to see too, so we set up something that we can continue on through the years. I see this kind of like working like what we do for the senior center, so we donate money to them, they do their thing, and then they just, all they do is just give us a report every year when they ask for money, and they just tell us all the things that they accomplished and they did, and it should
It's
be
a
that
donation,
simple.
now it's contract signed with the
Yeah.
township, it cuts the township out of it.
Right, so, and then, you know, if you wanted to come to the board and say hi, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah, post pictures, and like, people see their neighborhood get picked up, and, you know, and more as we go along, and pictures and everything, they're like, wow, this is working.
Yeah, we could put it on our website.
I tell you what, why don't you take the money out of ARPA money? That would be perfect for it.
Kath, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to say that there is a very similar kind of project that Ed, I think his first name is Ed Cope. He's the
Milan mayor.
mayor of Milan, that he organized when he was their city council person in Milan. He helped organize a very similar kind of program, I think 5 years ago, maybe longer, a very similar kind of thing where it's because the city couldn't keep up with all the road stuff. So there's a whole volunteer group that does that, and cooperate with city council, but it is a volunteer group. There's some sort of collaboration, but it's a volunteer group that actually does it. That seems to have been working out very well.
Ironically, that day that we were picking up trash, because I know this only because my husband, I'm like, why are you going to Milan? We live here, but he had already committed. It was the same day, and they had like 50 volunteers.
Right.
They had breakfast provided. They all met at like the White Horse or Workhorse.
Yeah. And I found out about it because I was helping my grandson in elementary school had to write some kind of a paper related to their elections, and I was helping him write a term paper on the two guys running for mayor. That's how I found out about it. So, yes, so I think it's very workable, and if you need to find out any kind of paperwork stuff, they probably know it, because they, you don't have to reinvent any wheels, because they've already probably got a wheel already going.
Yeah,
All
very
right. Thanks, Kath. Monique, you had something to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that,
Why are we having
if you started this group as like a nonprofit, then you could take like donations from people, donations from businesses, and probably get more, financial support that way.
I think we
But
talked
that,
about
it's a big
that.
responsibility, but
We did talk about that.
Because then you have to, because I know from a Rosie group I'm in, that with that group is a 501c3.
Yeah.
And there are like accounting things that you have to do and report out to the state. So
Excuse me.
But, I believe that
Point of
that's how
order.
the only way you can take the donations, so.
No,
Yeah.
it is
You're not
not
sharing-
public comment.
You're not sharing the meeting. This is a volunteer thing.
Yeah.
This helps get more volunteers. Let them speak. All right. Anything else,
It's a good
ladies?
idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, that might be something worth looking into. I think none of us are experts in 501c3
Katie
operations.
Kazuko is, and she's.
Who is?
Another resident is, I could give you a name, she's
Yeah.
really into.
Yeah, I'd love to just, learn more about what the overhead and how much,
This is a volunteer program.
how much work behind the scenes is, required to do something like that.
Okay,
So,
I
yes.
gotta stop the public comment part back there, but thank you very much for your input. Anything else, ladies?
yeah, I have a couple sheets on our table. We do have a May date coming up. I wanted to give Aiden, he's the contact, the student at Lincoln.
Great.
So, and, it's got the name of our Facebook page, so anyone that's interested can take a picture, trying to cut down on trees.
Yeah.
Be careful,
What's that?
be careful out there.
Yes,
You
thank
don't want
you.
other kids getting hurt or nothing like
Like I
that.
said, we have the cars on the road, people see us in the road, we pile all our trash alongside the road, flashers on the cars, you can see us from a mile away.
Well,
Those
thank-
people that have been throwing
Thank you,
the
guys.
alcohol bottles, maybe they're so sleepy.
Hey Wendy, can you send it to me?
This
Email?
pages?
Yeah, please.
For sure.
Please, okay.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, they did a great job out there. It was Linda and Wendy and Heather. I mean, the way they worked the road, jumping in and out of the ditches and that was unbelievable. And the garbage and so on. And, but yeah, it was a great effort, hopefully, we can continue it on.
So
Do you have
I
a
would like,
motion?
yes, I would like to make a motion to approve $2,200 from the 101-702-999-000 Blight Project General Fund for the Augusta Green Team Volunteer Group for cleaning efforts.
Susan?
Yes.
David?
Yeah.
Debbie?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Shelby, yes. Kim?
Yes.
Linda's absent. Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Approve the Michigan Housing Development Fund grant agreement.
So my deputy, Belinda, was working on this. So I'm just gonna make the motion to receive and file the Housing Development Fund Grant Agreement, Housing Readiness Incentive Enhancement Grant, HR1, or HRI, -2024-10570-LEG. Total approved grant funds for $33,500. The township cost will be $8,300, and the total grant budget is $41,800.
Second.
So Belinda was working on this, she learned about it through the MTA, and when we were there probably a year ago, right? And so we're at the conference last week, and I'm sitting in a class and they start talking about it, and it's the woman who she'd been working with for this housing readiness incentive. So that was pretty cool. Alan and I both, Alan was the volunteer in that class. Do you want me to read this? Yeah, do you guys want to hear what it's about?
Yeah, well, I got it. Linda, this isn't the one that came through Dingle's office, is it? Okay, all right.
This is through the state of Michigan.
Okay, all right, because this one I sent her, that's a good question. All right, go ahead.
So it increases the housing supply and affordability, adoption of land use policies, master plan updates, zoning text amendments, similar actions to encourage increasing housing supply and affordability. The activity will result in developing housing types that address the housing needs of all township residents with respect to size, expense, and allocation. The activity will also result in promoting accessible, affordable housing opportunities for Augusta senior residents. Augusta Township will use the fund to adapt land use policies and amend zoning ordinances. Augusta Township's master plan has the following strategies listed. Develop additional residential areas to provide a mix of housing types. Augusta Township master plan has the following objective listed. Promote the accessible, affordable housing opportunities for senior citizens at appropriate locations in the township. The Augusta Township planner and attorney will work with Augusta Township Planning Commission to review the Augusta Township zoning ordinance PUD plan unit development section, prepare draft zoning ordinance amendments to include development agreements with and provide affordable housing, prepare draft zoning ordinance amendments to include inclusively housing programs, prepare draft zoning amendments to include ADU, accessible dwelling unit to provide housing for adult children and or aging parents, revise ordinance amendments as directed if needed by Planning Commission, revise any maps that are needed. So, yeah, it was really cool meeting her, and Augusta had gotten approved for $50,000, but like it said in the motion, 33.5 will be grant funds, and then we have to come up with 8,300. The total grant budget is 41,800. So you want to do a roll call?
Yeah. Did you make your motion? All right. Did you get a second?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, sorry. Susan?
Yes.
David?
Yeah.
Debbie left. Linda's absent. Chris?
Yes.
Shelby, yes. Kim?
Yes.
Okay.
I would also make a motion to obtain a proposal from planner Carlisle Wortman for housing readiness incentive grant work.
Second.
Susan?
Yes.
David?
Yeah.
Debbie's absent. Linda's absent. Chris?
No.
Shelby, yes. Kim?
Yes.
Okay. What else? Do you have anything else?
No?
Okay, down to reports now. Vic, you might as well go first.
Okay.
Okay, I do need to do a motion.
Oh.
Sorry, I do need to do a motion to receive and file the Augusta Township Planner Carlisle Wortman's audit for the AG Agricultural District. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry. All right, Susan,
Yes.
David,
Yeah.
Debbie's absent, Kim, Linda's absent, Chris,
No.
Shelby, yes, Kim,
Yes.
okay. All right. Is that all you have?
No?
Okay, Vic.
So, I am just here, I guess, to update on the multiple cases that I'm involved in for the township. So I'll just go down the list. I reported at the last meeting that I was at, Brothers is at the top of my list. That's that property on Willis Road that burnt down. It's a junkyard, basically. We are taking the position that they can't rebuild there because that's what our ordinance provides for. We had a hearing, April 15th, I think it was, 16th maybe. The tickets, there were blight tickets that were issued, but the real problem there is a zoning problem. It's a use problem now because they can't continue the use because it was a non-conforming use that's been destroyed by the fire, basically. So I'm trying to set up a meeting with the attorney to talk about the possibility of getting into some type of an agreement for their exit from the property. We attempted to do that last week for next week, but that's not going to work apparently. So we're looking at the second week and probably the second week in May to try to have a meeting with them and their attorney to sit down and see if we can have some type of an agreement where where they exit the property or convert that property to a use as permitted under the zoning ordinance. I anticipate that I will probably have to file a circuit court action in order to get that agreement in writing, entered by the court so that it's binding on everybody. The tickets that were issued for blight on the property were ultimately dismissed. The judge didn't particularly like the tickets, the way that they had written the material, the lack of specific information in the tickets. And so those tickets were dismissed. So I'm just in conversation with the attorney right now to set up a meeting and probably within the next week or two, I will probably go ahead and file a circuit court action just to keep it moving along. We don't want it to get dead in the water or anything. So, assuming this board approves of that action. Then Alton Bird was scheduled for it's a blight case. Was scheduled for a hearing in April 2nd. He did not show up. The court entered a default in the case. I prepared a judgment. He's required to pay $150 in fines, $250 costs. He's got 30 days from the date of entry of the judgment, which was 5/17, to clear up the property. If he does not clear up the property, the order that was entered actually provides additional relief to the township if the township wants to exercise that additional relief to go out there and clean up the property itself, or alternatively, I can move into court and bring the defendant back in for contempt proceedings, to try to get things resolved. Typically, I would do that as opposed to just suggesting that the township go out there and clean up the property, even though the township has that order. I always like to get that reaffirmed in a subsequent proceeding, a contempt proceeding, basically. So that case is done for the time being. We've got until May 7th.